What if I told you that the most exhausting decision you make today is probably going to happen before you even drink your first cup of coffee?
Oh, without a doubt.
Right. Like we think of our morning routines as these, optimized, highly engineered systems. But then we open our closet doors, and research actually shows we suffer from measurable decision fatigue before we even leave the bedroom.
Yeah, it's a massive cognitive drain, honestly.
And it's entirely because we treat our closets like these chaotic fashion archives instead of like strategic toolkits.
Exactly. We're literally staring at a physical manifestation of indecision.
Yeah,
And that friction, it doesn't just cost us 10 minutes. It sets this reactive, kind of disorganized tone for the entire rest of the day.
which is exactly why we are turning that dynamic completely upside down in today's deep dive. We're taking that daily frustrating struggle of getting dressed and, well, transforming it into a definitive strategic advantage for you.
I love that framing.
Thanks. So, our source material today is this really insightful document titled Creating a Signature Style. It synthesizes advice from top industry stylists, along with some really compelling data and insights from Apparelizer.
And the central thesis we're pulling from these sources, it isn't about, chasing the aesthetic of a runway model. That's not the point.
No, not at all.
We're looking at the architecture of personal branding. It's about constructing a visual identity that simultaneously saves you cognitive energy and fundamentally alters how you're perceived when you walk into a room.
Okay, let's unpack this because to actually build that kind of functional wardrobe, we have to establish the boundary between a fleeting fashion trend and an actual signature style. We have to define what we're even trying to construct here.
Right, because they're very different things.
Totally. The sources describe a signature style as a highly intentional visual trademark. It's an outward reflection of your internal values, your actual lifestyle, and your deliberate preferences.
And to understand the mechanism of why a visual trademark is so effective, we really have to look at the environment we are currently navigating.
The algorithms.
Yes, the algorithmic trend cycles. I mean, if you open social media right now, you are just bombarded with 5 different micro trends. You've got like quiet luxury on Monday.
Oh, yeah. And then mob wife aesthetic on Tuesday.
Exactly. Y2K revival by Friday. And every single week it changes. These algorithms are quite literally designed to create a sense of perpetual obsolescence.
They want you to panic buy.
Yes, they
Yeah.
want your clothes to feel outdated after 3 wears. And a signature style acts as a psychological defense mechanism against that. It's an aesthetic anchor that grounds you in your own predetermined parameters.
I mean, I hear the logic in having an aesthetic anchor. If you aren't constantly reacting to the algorithm, you reclaim your mental bandwidth.
Huge amounts of it.
But realism check here.
Yeah.
If I lock in this, visual trademark and I wear, say, a variation of a structured AV blazer 4 days a week, people are going to notice.
Sure they will.
So where's the line between having a signature style and just becoming like a cartoon character who wears the exact same uniform every single day? Like, doesn't that rigidity kind of take the fun out of fashion?
What's fascinating here is that the stylists in our source material argue the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah, a defined signature style doesn't create rigidity, it creates visual harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it less like a cartoon character's uniform and more like a director's visual motif in a film.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. By establishing tight parameters around what you wear, you completely eliminate the paradox of choice. You aren't staring at your closet feeling overwhelmed because every piece has already passed this rigorous vetting process.
So you know it all works.
Exactly. It actually frees up your creative energy to play with subtle textures and silhouettes, rather than stressing over whether the fundamental pieces even make sense together in the first place.
Okay, I get that. So the constraint actually breeds creativity. You build a sandbox, and then you can play freely within those borders.
Spot on.
But establishing those borders requires some intense self-auditoring. The sources are very clear that you cannot build a signature style based on some aspirational fantasy.
No, that's a trap.
It has to start with analyzing how you actually live. And I want you, listening right now, to really think about your own daily routine for a second.
Yeah, the concept they emphasize here is lifestyle matching, and it is brutally pragmatic. You have to audit your calendar.
Where do you physically spend your time?
Right. Because the error most people make is buying clothes for a life they experience maybe like 10% of the time.
Oh, I've been so guilty of this.
We all have. People stock up on stiff corporate tailoring for a job that lets them work from a home office 4 days a week. It
Yeah.
makes no sense.
And if you're listening to this and thinking, well, I work from home, my signature style is just sweatpants, the text actually addresses that reality.
It does.
Having a signature style doesn't mean you have to be formal, just means you have to be intentional.
Yes, intentionality is key.
So upgrading from like your old stained college t-shirts to a tailored high-quality loungewear in a specific deliberate color palette, that is still executing a signature style. It's about elevating the reality you are currently in.
And once you accept that reality, you can start mining for your actual aesthetic. The experts suggest running an analysis on the images, the designers, or even like architectural styles you're naturally drawn to.
Are you gravitating toward minimalist lines? Or maybe vintage influences?
Or streetwear. You are essentially data mining your own subconscious preferences to find the recurring themes in what you like.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Finding those themes eventually leads you to the math of your wardrobe, specifically your core color palette.
The math, I love that.
Yeah. The sources advise selecting a very tight, consistent palette that complements your complexion. So like monochromatic neutrals or rich earth tones or maybe just a strict black and white contrast.
Keep it focused.
Right. And the immediate assumption most people have is that limiting your colors limits your outfits. But the mathematical reality of a capsule wardrobe proves that a constrained palette exponentially increases your outfit permutations.
It all comes down to modularity. If you have a closet full of wild prints and hyper-specific colors, you are creating what the industry calls wardrobe orphans.
Oh, wardrobe orphans.
Yeah, these are those trendy pieces you buy on impulse that match absolutely nothing else you own.
Right.
So they force you to go out and buy 3 more things just to make that one item wearable.
I know that trap so intimately. You buy like the bright green jacket and suddenly you need new shoes and a very specific shirt just to justify the jacket. It's exhausting.
But when you utilize tonal dressing, which is layering different shades of the same color family, every single item becomes a modular node.
It connects to everything else.
Exactly. A navy sweater works with the charcoal trousers, which work with the light blue Oxford. You create depth through varying the textures.
Like mixing a chunky wool knit with smooth silk.
Yes. Rather than relying on chaotic color clashes, the entire closet basically becomes interoperable.
But let's say you've done that work. You've data mined your perfect tonal palette, you've audited your calendar, you've accepted your work from home reality.
Okay.
That entire strategy completely falls apart the second you put the clothes on if the physical geometry of the garments is wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
The colors simply don't matter if the fit is actively working against your body shape.
Which brings us to the absolute, non-negotiable golden rule cited across every expert in our source material. Fit over labels.
Fit over label.
The physical execution of the garment completely supersedes the prestige of whatever brand name is stitched inside the collar.
We get so easily manipulated by brand signaling, don't we? Like we assume a designer logo automatically confers status.
It's a cognitive bias.
But the text points out that tailoring dramatically alters the perception of literally any garment, and they highlight very specific anatomical anchor points to watch.
The jacket shoulders.
Yep, the trouser length, sleeve length, and the waist suppression.
And the reason they isolate those specific areas, particularly the shoulder seam and the waist, is because those points dictate your overall physical silhouette.
Right.
Human brains are basically subconsciously wired to interpret visual symmetry as an indicator of competence and high status.
That is so wild to think about.
It is. If a jacket shoulder extends, say, 2 inches past your natural shoulder, or if excess fabric is just pulling around your waist, it alters your perceived center of gravity.
It makes you look physically sluggish.
Exactly. You could be wearing a piece of highly coveted luxury clothing, but if the geometry is sloppy, the brain just reads it as incompetent.
I love looking at this mechanically. It's kind of like an expensive but ill-fitting suit is basically a luxury sports car with flat tires.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Like, it doesn't matter how much the car costs or what the badge on the hood says, it's not going to look good in motion.
Not at all.
A designer shirt relies entirely on superficial brand signaling. But a $20 shirt that has been taken to a tailor for $15, that works because it perfectly traces the lines of your specific body.
It creates that visual symmetry we were just talking about.
Exactly. The $20 tailored shirt will dominate the $500 baggy designer shirt in every single scenario.
You are taking ownership of the garment's architecture. Properly fitted clothing is essentially a shortcut to hacking how people perceive your professionalism.
That makes the concept of style incredibly democratic, honestly. You don't need venture capital levels of funding to look put together. You just need to understand the mechanics of a tape measure.
Just a little bit of effort and a good tailor.
Right. But how do we structure this? We have clothes that fit flawlessly, they are in our tonal palette, and they match our actual lives.
Right.
But we need a system to ensure this timeless foundation doesn't just feel like, a historical reenactment. We need to integrate current culture without compromising the system.
The sources provide a structural formula for this, actually. It's commonly referred to as the 80-20 rule.
Let's get into that.
Think of your wardrobe like the architecture of a house. 80% of your closet should consist of timeless essentials.
The load-bearing walls.
Exactly. The text defines these as well-fitted blazers, high-quality denim, crisp white shirts, neutral knitwear. These pieces need to be structurally sound, versatile, and relatively permanent.
They are the safe foundation. It's kind of like a financial investment portfolio.
Oh, how so?
Well, the 80% are your safe, blue chip stocks. You know they're going to perform. And then the remaining 20% is the paint and the throw pillows, or, to keep the finance analogy, it's your fun, high-risk venture capital.
I love that. Yes.
These are the trend-driven items. That ratio is brilliant because it allows you to inject seasonal colors or experimental silhouettes without having to tear down the entire house when the trend inevitably dies 6 months later.
It creates a buffer. The 20% prevents your timeless foundation from looking dated or overly conservative.
Right.
But to truly elevate this from just a smart wardrobe to an actual signature style, the experts introduce the concept of the signature element.
The personal stamp.
Exactly. This is the deliberate focal point of your visual identity.
The document lists several ways to deploy this. It could be a commitment to statement eyewear, or a distinctive style of structured blazer.
Or signature handbags.
Yeah, or unique footwear, or even how you layer your jewelry. The objective isn't to wear all of them at once. It's to select one or two very specific details and wear them so consistently that they become intrinsically linked to your personal brand in the minds of other people.
So what stands out to you as a potential signature item?
Oh, that's a great question to ask the listener. Seriously, what stands out to you as a potential signature item in your own life? Is it a specific watch? A type of boot?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, deploying the 80-20 rule and isolating a signature element inherently forces you to prioritize quality over quantity.
Which is so needed right now.
Right. When 80% of your wardrobe is permanent, the cost per wear economics completely shift.
You stop looking at the upfront price tag in a vacuum.
You realize that buying one impeccably constructed, sustainably sourced sweater that lasts a decade is vastly superior to buying 10 cheap sweaters that lose their shape after 3 washes.
It minimizes physical clutter while maximizing your visual value.
It's the ultimate rejection of fast fashion.
It really is. And yet, there's one final component here that dictates whether all of this strategic planning actually succeeds in the real world.
Ah.
We've built the physical architecture, the tonal palette, the tailored geometry, the 80-20 ratio. But the source material reveals a psychological catalyst that activates the wardrobe.
It's the definitive difference between you wearing the outfit and the outfit wearing you.
They refer to it as the invisible accessory.
Confidence.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Industry experts universally agree that the most stylish individuals share this underlying trait. Confidence is the mechanism that transforms an ordinary, mathematically correct outfit into something magnetic.
It really is.
And what I appreciate about this document is that they don't just throw out a platitude like, hey, just be confident. They explain the biological feedback loop of how to actually generate it.
Right. It ties directly into a psychological concept called enclothed cognition.
Enclothed cognition.
Yes. It's the idea that the physical experience of wearing certain clothes actually alters your cognitive state.
That makes total sense.
The sources explain that you engineer fashion confidence by strictly avoiding uncomfortable trends that force you to physically fidget.
When you're tugging at your shirt all day, you look nervous.
Exactly. When your clothes fit your unique geometry perfectly, your posture naturally improves. You stand differently. You occupy space differently.
So what does this all mean? It means your appearance is actively communicating on your behalf before you even speak a single word.
And people are listening to what it says.
Always. The sources map out how this carefully calibrated signature style directly impacts your professional credibility. It removes the friction from networking, it establishes a baseline of leadership presence, and it